Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Golden Seams. I'm Gabe, and I'm here with Michae, and today we're going to be diving in to The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie Mackesy.
Is your glass half empty or half full? Asked the mole. And this is ironic considering in the last episode, the boy says, I think I'm grateful to have a glass.
Hmm.
Gratitude is something that I've had to learn to incorporate, to understand the power and the magnitude of it. Gratitude changes everything. I almost feel like it's a muscle and you have to work it,
Yeah,
really learn to appreciate things. And one of the things that I find so profound about gratitude, if you force yourself, well, I know I should appreciate that, so thank you. If that's really how you feel, you actually miss the gift
hmm.
of gratitude. It can't be mechanical. If you're writing a gratitude journal, one of the tricks that I can tell you that I use, I actually start writing about what's obvious that I should be grateful for. If I let myself let it flow, it will actually evolve into what I am so truly grateful for. And then I feel the gratitude in my heart.
Wow.
If you're somebody like me where there's some stiffness there, it's not that I think that I'm ungrateful, and I'm not saying anyone else is who has this stiffness. But if you feel like gratitude is an exchange, oh, well, they told me I should write a gratitude journal, so I'm going to do this. If it's in that place of should, let yourself keep going at it without judgment
I
until it evolves to,
I totally agree. I see sometimes the gratitude thing comes up. I see the scales, the weight scales where you have two sides balancing. And sometimes in moments where I need to practice gratitude, the heavy side or the not so good side is got a ton of stones on it. And I go to practice my gratitude, except I don't move them to the other side. Okay, I'm grateful for this and I'm grateful for that. And it stays on the side weighing down all the heavy shit. And I think gratitude, I gotta put it onto the other so I feel good. The feeling is what's leveling it. I'm really good at doing the counting the heavy stones.
Oh my gosh, that's so well put. All I can say is just keep doing it.
Right.
It's finding the tree, at least for me, it was. Once you do, don't ever let go of that connection.
Mm,
It is such a better space to be. And it starts with appreciation.
yeah.
Whatever it is, look around, see what you can appreciate. I had a friend a long time ago, and she had this son, and he used to just drive her crazy. And she told me he was such a little jerk. Oh my God, you're his mom. I didn't have kids at the time when I knew her. She was telling me about how selfish and inconsiderate her son was and how frustrating it was because she had other children that were so sweet and loving and kind and selfless. She said it reached a point where she was so frustrated, she decided that she had to force herself to find something good about him every day. And that was what she would focus on, even if it meant his hair was all screwed up that day. You know what? I think it's so funny and cute how his hair is screwed up today.
Mm,
And that would be the one thing that she would focus. And she pushed herself and her relationship with her son to such a powerfully wonderful relationship. You would have never guessed it was ever like that.
wow.
She shifted the entire relationship with gratitude, finding something to appreciate about her son. He's an amazing man, and she's an amazing mother. I have used that technique on so many situations to heal them in my life, where I can now candidly talk about things that normally would have broken me down by choosing to bombard the situation in my mind with gratitude, by finding that silver lining or that good thing. I'm not a Pollyanna type. If I have a lever that is going to make my life easier, better, and more enjoyable, more pleasant, more happy, more abundant, more prosperous, gratitude is it, and I'm going to use it. The story goes on. We don't know about tomorrow, said the horse. All we need to know is that we love each other. Then these dark clouds come. They move in, and then they say, when the dark clouds come, keep going.
Mm,
It starts off with gratitude, but then it moves into that. through appreciating the moments and letting them fill your mind with those moments of appreciation. It's one of the things that I finally realized that shifted my entire life. Happiness, gratitude, those silver linings, those are in the moments. As many people are saying, it's the journey, it's all of those things. If you can appreciate the moments, that's how you stack the other side of that scale.
Right.
It's actually how you can get through anything if you can find a way to appreciate the moments and then let them fill your mind. It's not arriving at a place where you're happy or having or owning a thing, because those things will come and they may go. If you will let that fill your mind with appreciation with the small things and begin to make that a habit, because it's a choice, it will hold you and you will find greater alignment with who you are and throughout your life.
It's amazing.
Everything just gets easier. This isn't just my experience. We are going to actually do a book that is so transformative, that is so life changing. When I discovered this book, it's goofy and amazing all at the same time. It's simply based on gratitude. I'm really excited for that, to share that with everybody. Up until then, start to find the way to appreciate whatever it is in the moment.
Reminds me of amor fati, love of fate, to love our fate. I think that so much easier said than done. But I do hear you.
Believe me,
Yeah.
yeah, no. I was the person who coined the glass is half full of what, and I'm not going to tell you all what I used to say it was full of.
I went through phases where in apathy I would, are you thirsty? Why do you have a glass? Like, what does a glass matter right now? Or if you're hungry, what's the glass gonna do? I
Did
just,
you just bring up a tree? I know.
yes.
The story goes on, when the big things feel out of control, focus on what you love right under your nose. This idea, find the thing that you can appreciate. And I would say start with appreciation
It'll
because
never get old.
love can sometimes feel really far away.
Yeah.
Then the horse goes on. They say, this storm will pass. They pass through the storm. After the storm, they go on to say, we have such a long way to go, sighed the boy. Yes, but look how far we've come, said the horse.
Hmm.
It happens to be one of my favorite lines that I say to my clients. I love when they share their wins with me. Anyone that works with me, you got to have grit.
Hmm.
I am all about results, and they know that, but I'm 1,000% in when I'm working with somebody. What I love about the people that I get to work with is when they show up, and believe me, they always do, and I am grateful for that. They will message me, call me, send me notes, emails, whatever it is, or when we talk each week, and they will tell me about these wins. My response is always this one thing: keep going.
Hmm.
Building upon what we were talking about previously in previous episode, please let yourself take that step forward.
Yes.
Make the phone call, get the flyer, go on the website, whatever it is that sparks that passion that starts to revive your life, that puts you one more step in a better direction, just do it. I love the saying that follows up with this: we didn't come this far just to get this far.
Yes. Wow. That line alone is the perfect encapsulation of a life with purpose or one without it. Like that's literally the determining factor what it feels like. If you understand the fuel going into the engine, what it's like, why it's going in there, what direction you're facing, and I recommend going towards where your heart's facing. That's my personal opinion. To go towards wherever that's pointing is the purpose. And if it's not, the purpose is to distract from the fact that there is no purpose, at least in my experience. Do anything to not remember why we took the journey in the first place.
Yeah. When the horse says yes, but look how far we've come,
Hmm.
I can look back over my life. I could be pissed for everything if I really let myself focus in on some of the things in my life. Honestly, I know everybody out there, it's the same thing, but look how far you've come.
Hmm.
Compassion towards yourself. And this is where you can start to give yourself some credit. And you start with appreciating yourself, and then you can also appreciate other things, other people, and you can start to transform.
Absolutely. And it reminds me of going back to that image of your mom telling you to look at a tree, the tree. There's this, I am becoming more and more convinced that all love is self-love and all hatred is self-hatred somehow. Even
Mm.
in the appreciation for the tree, there's this, it's the other half of my lungs while I'm on this planet in this body. And the others around me are how I'm surviving with the clothes that I don't know how to sew and the foods I don't know how to source on my own yet. And all these other things, that's all that I'm made of and all that I am in all of its parts. No matter which direction I point it, it's me feeling it, the good, the bad, or the ugly. It's coming through this vessel and this experience and these veins. What a good reminder.
It's a lot. Start small,
Right.
but I would say start now,
Yeah.
not out of fear, out of the necessity you don't want to hit that bottom. My brother said this to me once. We were talking about when someone has an addiction problem. He said, the truth about it is there is no bottom. The bottom is when you say it's enough. Make that decision and take that step forward into your authentic reconnection with yourself, whatever that looks like for you, and start letting yourself have that too.
Mm.
It's time to have your cake and eat it too. Sometimes I want to say I love you all, said the mole, but I find it difficult. Do you, said the boy? Yes, so I say something like, I'm glad we're all here. Okay, said the boy. I'm glad we are all here. We are so glad you're here too. Love languages.
Yeah.
What expresses love to whomever? I think you also have to look at that for yourself. What is your
Oh,
definition? What
that's
is meaningful
awesome.
love to you, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that I really have learned is that my definition of what is love and what is of value definitely does not match somebody else's all the time.
Hmm. But the experience that you have in those situations might be really close, right, to their perceived love or whatever that's bringing that.
I feel like when I've had the greatest miscommunication to the point where it's become argumentative or upsetting between myself and another person that I've had a close relationship with, we have had a different definition of what love is.
Right.
That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
I've had a different understanding of what their need was versus what they felt their need was.
So much of it coming from communication, like
Yes,
right, like the fear, the shame, the guilt, the not doing it, like all the different obstructions of that free flow that I think again it's so clear to me when I see laughter or tears. It feels like the heart fountain is turned on, either the sound fountain or the water fountain. Yeah, and it's hard to know what touches the heart without understanding.
I definitely agree. It's about being willing to understand.
Yeah.
That friend that I had, she valued her son so much and knew that that relationship mattered in her life that she was willing to find something good about her son every day. That is what she would focus on. And she completely shifted that entire relationship because I asked her, how did you change that?
Wow.
And she told me that story. Sometimes it's stepping back, speaking to myself more than anything. What's your best discovery? Asked the mole. That I'm enough as I am, said the boy. Think about the whole movement of I am enough.
Yeah.
It's become where people tease, make jokes, and the Barbie movie. And I love the Ken shirt, I am Knopf. It really does have a very deep meaning. And the deep meaning that roots back into, if you really just narrow it down, is can you love me for who I am?
Yeah. and the courage it takes to show up as who we are
Oh
is
my gosh.
admirable. Yeah.
I've realized why we are here, whispered the boy. For cake, asked the mole. To love, said the boy. And be loved, said the horse. Maybe, Gabe, you're very loving. You should pick this up.
No, I feel like the greatest mystery in life is making sense of this concept of love for me. Because I know when I'm experiencing it, I can recognize it when I'm in it and I can feel it. But trying to use the senses to look for it, to identify it, to quantify it, to pinpoint it, it's like a really tricky thing for me. And there's other lines of thought that is like everything is love or all you need is love. And I keep getting forced back into this reflection on my own perspective of things, or going back to that idea of gratitude, pain bodies and distortions going on because of coping mechanisms. Sometimes I'm curious about the thought experiment. What if everything is love? All of this is a form of love to awaken something bigger than we're capable of sitting with, maybe in the moment. Those bumpers in bowling or whatever the limitations life brings up, opportunities to grow, a catalyst for an evolution. In the moment, it sucks. And that's okay that we're not experiencing it as love. With context, time, I wonder, at least in the more recent events in my life, there have been some pretty, like, there were moments where I was just done, gonna give up on everything, my dreams, not do things that I wanted to do anymore. That was harder and darker to get out of than I think anything life. It was the desire to experience is being thwarted when we don't honor this feeling in our heart and these impulses, and because of how life presents love so much in the context of relationships, especially outside with things and people, I feel like it's almost limiting again in this thought experiment that I'm trying. There is a song, I think, by John Lennon, Love is Wanting to Be Loved. And that line hit me like a sledgehammer when I heard it. Oh, I can have a relationship with love. I can, I know it sounds crazy. That opened up something so big in my field. I can interact with love as an essence that also is a part of me when I'm in alignment with it, that I can embody this energetic and I can recognize it in others. And the more I challenge the doubts and frustrations that obstruct it and try stillness as an alternative to the flailing and swimming that I so often do, it really starts responding. And it's pretty incredible, this severing it from expectations and dynamics and what the aesthetic of it should be or what it should sound like, look like, watching the blooming of the flower that is love in its totality is so powerful because it requires a certain level of faith during the blooming and during the flowering. We're like, doesn't smell like a flower yet. It's like the lotus is still under the muddy water.
I think we have fixed perceptions and expectations,
Yeah.
and they're false.
Yes.
When you actually find out what love really is and you experience it, it's so unexpected. It's not what you thought it was going to be
Yeah.
in a good way.
Totally agree. Yeah, the irony is like the more you look for what you think love is, the more you miss love, the actual thing. That's how I feel at least. I don't know if that's true for everybody, but I could definitely see. I'm like, wow, I did that a lot and do that a lot still.
Yeah, I think so too. That's part of the joy of the journey. And I'm, again, that's sarcasm. Because I'm like, it's very true. Where that leaves off. To love, said the boy, and to be loved, said the horse. I kind of made this note to myself. It was something, I don't know where, if I picked this up along the way or somebody told me. Maybe I got it in a fortune cookie. If you can't be loving, be kind.
Mm,
If you can't be kind, be respectful. If you can't be respectful, be quiet. and then look within the quiet, and you will eventually find love in the stillness.
Wow.
When I read this part of the story, that's what I got. Did somebody tell me that? Is that on some coffee mug and I had it somewhere in some boutique shop or something? I have no idea. It's about peeling it back
Yeah.
into the place where you can be. If you peel it back, if you can't be loving, be kind. If you can't be kind, be respectful. If you can't be respectful, be quiet. And then look within the quiet, and you will eventually find love in the stillness. It's almost like a recipe for, okay, peel back this layer. If that doesn't work, peel back this layer. If that doesn't work, peel back this layer. And then when you finally step into the center of the Tao,
Yeah. Right.
there's the stillness. And when you're in that stillness, that's when the lotus comes up, opens, and then you're in the flow.
Oh my God. I love that recipe. I really love that recipe because not only is it start with the invitation to practice being loving, the options that follow it are all beautiful and remain in alignment. And without leaving where you are or doing anything different, you could also just be quiet and also be in a loving state. Like that's so perfect. There's never not a reason for it. And this idea too brings, I think that there's this translation, I'm probably going to butcher it, of like the Heart Sutra that talks about nothing grows, nothing diminishes, nothing is perfect, nothing is impure. This constant neutralizing of polarities that happens in the heart. The stillness often reminds me of the void, infinite space, and how if I'm too much in my own head and in my own body and I'm experiencing a void, it's a terrifying experience. But if I'm surrendering those things to the void, it can hold all of it. And it has plenty of space for all my worries, and I can push it away. And I can, if things come to me, I can hold space for everything that comes. If I can become fluid, like you said, allow things to move in and out of the body instead of feeling like this is the container for all of it. Because that is way too small for how much happens in this life. I love that recipe so much right now.
And how much more you can have. I have been in business meetings, corporate meetings, all kinds of different things throughout my life. They'll come to me and they'll say, Michae, you're not weighing in on this. What are you thinking? Or we need you buy-in. We need you to get on board with this. And I remember so many times sitting there thinking to myself, the most I can do is be silent because if I say what I'm thinking, sometimes the greatest gift is be silent. In that silence, allow them to work it out, but
Right.
also it allows us to work it out. There's safety in silence sometimes in this way when it's for reflective, not in silence for looking the other way. I'm not referring to that. I'm talking about there's a safety in allowing yourself to really see what it is, opening yourself up in that silence. And that's where I think the love comes in, the
I totally,
understanding.
totally, completely agree. This choice, also the way you're describing how you conducted yourself in the meetings and allowing that stillness, is saying no to the obligation system around us that has all this pressure and pushing in so many ways that becomes invasive almost in our personal experience. That pressure and stuff, and that silence is saying no to things that are not heart-centered. And the way you described it, like really powerfully, actually.
What do we do when our hearts hurt? Asked the boy. We wrap them with friendship, shared tears and time till they make hopeful and happy again. It's about finding a space where it's safe to cry, the powerful healing that's in tears, in allowing yourself that, but knowing that it's best to do that in a safe space. This is so big, and we're going to see this, we're going to experience this over and over and over again. It's going to come up. It's literally about who you surround yourself with.
Yeah,
So we wrap them with friendship, shared tears, and time till they make hopeful and happy again. This is about making the effort to find your tribe, if you will. When you have good people in your life, more good will come. It's worth the effort to do that and to be the person that they can be. And if you haven't found your tribe yet, start looking.
It could be closer
And
than you think.
exactly. And we have the internet now. There's so many choices, there's so many different things. I see this over and over and over again, the sessions throughout my life with the people that I work with, my entire life, where things really, really abruptly went in the direction that I did not want, that I was unsuspecting, was because I was not governing who was in my life.
Mm. Oh man, when I was younger, I had some challenging times and some poor decision making to brew them up. And I remember my mom telling me, and me getting so mad, but it was roughly, she'd say it in Portuguese, but it was basically like, tell me who you walk with and I'll tell you who you are. And
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, did that frustrate me? I don't think I was capable of reflecting on, and it's nothing against, I think it goes back to that overwhelmed, overburdened state and where they're at. Me joining a group of overwhelmed, overburdened friends when I'm overwhelmed and overburdened. I don't think anybody had a leg to help anybody else in that situation, you know? And I could not see it from the outside. Now I'm grateful for that reflection because it stuck with me to this day. I still think of her saying that. And I see how powerful that awareness is because we can't do it alone. And we're never doing it alone, really.
Mm-mm. Whoever you're exchanging energy with and spending your time with, Gabe, you know this is so true about me. Before ghosting was ever a term, I was doing it. I came up with it way before anybody ever considered this. Saying this in humor, but in truth. I saw Michelle Obama on an interview, and she talked about being very good at getting people out of their lives, about being too busy, that sort of thing. There are a lot of ways to say no. Find
Yeah.
them. And then you have more space to say yes. And that's what comes with that. We promise we're going to be addressing that because we're going to be discussing boundaries. You are worth so much more. You matter. Finding your tribe, they're looking for you too.
Yes. Your feelings matter.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing that should obligate us to participate in things we despise. Don't like, even. It doesn't have to be that intense.
You can get
Like is
through so
not.
much more if you invite people who support and get you into your life.
Yeah.
Whatever that community is, and we encourage you to go forward, find it, start to create that. I am talking about real connection because the other will not fill you up and it will not support you when the fall happens because it does.
Yeah.
You want the people that are going to show up
Yeah.
and you
You
want to
want
be
to,
the kind of person who shows up.
it's that idea of having a safe place to cry and being that safe place for others when we can too. That opens up universes of possibilities to me, I think.
It's so true. Go back to that whole thing of how many people ever came back and said thank you.
Hmm.
Not that you were looking for them to say thank you. The ones who really did, the person who came back and said that they were sorry because they knew they wronged you or they hurt you, I would so much rather have that person with that depth in my life, that awareness. That's the person I'm willing to meet on a personal level in my life. That's what makes life so much better is when you have that support and that connection, and it's worth knowing you're worth knowing.
It's beautiful. Any moment, any one of those people can become that, and you get to be the bouncer at the door. This is the guest list. Can be that as long as they come with that energy, right? It's not the person that you're omitting, it's the energetic that creates dissonance that's important to protect ourselves from.
Yeah. Do you have any other advice? Asked the boy. Don't measure how valuable you are by the way you are treated, said the horse. When my daughter was in school, and I know this is true probably for every parent, I can speak from my own experience, somebody wasn't treating her well. She would come home. I used to say it to people that I worked with who would come to me. If someone, well, they don't like me, they were treating me this way, whatever. I know it's probably not exactly nice. It's not particularly kind. She would tell me about somebody that they maybe didn't like her. I'm so relieved they don't like you. I can remember teachers, even teachers. She was like, that teacher doesn't like me. And I would say, I'm so relieved that teacher doesn't like you. No, mom, no, you don't understand. No, you don't understand. If they liked you, I'd be worried about the kind of person you are. I used to say this to her. Make sure that if somebody doesn't like you, one, you know it's about them.
Yes. Yeah. Al
It's
Capone doesn't like me, Mom.
do you
Yeah.
not see the value of this person who's a bully or a jerk or using their power authority in an inappropriate way? Do you not see the benefit and the compliment it is to you that they don't like you? I'm extending this out there. I know it's a little
I
off
love
the
that.
rails. It's important to know that you really do matter. The book goes on and says, always remember you matter, you're important, and you are loved. You bring to this world things that no one else can. How many times do we hear that? You're so special. God doesn't make junk. I want to really say this, you really do matter. And I want to put it in an extent, a bit of a science. Gabe and I are nerds. It's a fact. Think about the power of the uniqueness of your fingerprint. That something so huge believed and believes in you to this day, that you matter so much to make that effort to make sure that you have a fingerprint that nobody else has.
Hmm.
Well, that's genetics. We can go into the science of it. I'm perfectly willing to take that up. Even that, even that, you matter that much. You matter so much that whatever's running this show, and I didn't say what kind of show it is.
Is this a reality TV show you're talking?
This something show, okay?
Something show.
I'm kidding, and I'm not. Whatever's running this felt you mattered so much, that you were so important, that you were so significant, that you have a fingerprint that no one else has. If we had the technology and the capability, which I'm sure we have, if we don't, we will soon, your unique DNA is so powerfully uniquely you. Even identical twins, there's so many pieces. That is how much you matter. In order for you to have mattered to that extent, I really have to believe it is powered by love. I want to leave this with everybody listening. You bring to this world things that no one else can. The book closes out with, home isn't always a place, is it? What is home to you? That's what I want to ask. Put that forth in each of our minds. What is home to you? Let yourself go there at least once a day, if only for a moment. One of the things that I do when I work with clients, it was something that made such a profound impact. We go into a place of whatever it is they need to reconnect with, whatever we need to reconnect with. That is home, that is love, that is what the person needs. Further, what is love to you? And
Hmm.
let yourself consider that. What is kindness to you? And let yourself consider that. Allowing yourself to answer those questions, if you can let yourself go to that place in a moment, in a day, it will lead you to that space. Crossing over, the book ends with, look how far we've come. Leave yourself with the question, where can I give more kindness? Where can I give more love? If even to yourself, and that's where you start, you need to be refueled and filled up. As we close out this book, I hope that you have enjoyed the book. I hope that you have gotten a different perspective on it. And I genuinely hope that you will get the audiobook and listen to it.
Pictures in the real book too. The pictures are so beautiful.
They are. The pictures are amazing. The story is amazing. Apple TV even made a short story or cartoon about it. Allow yourself to go into these spaces. Hopefully, our perspectives haven't tainted the book for you in any way. I hope that this begins to create a path for you, like it has for us. either a space of healing, place where you will have understanding and kindness for yourself, for others, and knowing you do matter, to begin to create connection, to let yourself fly.
I love it.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And we,
Boundaries. Here we come.
yes, that's right, because that's where it starts. Thank you,
Nice.
everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us.